Welcome to the Starter Girlz Podcast, your ultimate source of inspiration and empowerment. We're here to help women succeed in every area of their lives: career, money, relationships, and health and well-being, while celebrating the remarkable journeys of individuals from all walks of life who've achieved amazing things. Whether you're looking to supercharge your career, build financial independence, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, the Starter Girlz Podcast is here to guide you. Join us as we explore the journeys of those who dare to dream big and achieve greatness. I'm your host, Jennifer Loehding, and welcome to this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girlz Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Loehding, and wherever you are tuning in today, we are so glad to have you. Well, I am so excited about my episode. Here we are, another day, another Starter Girlz episode, another awesome guest coming on here to talk about her journey and what she's doing. First things, let's set this up. Have you ever felt like you're ready to step into your full potential, but the world just isn't noticing? Like your ideas, your expertise, or your unique brilliance are waiting to be seen. Well, my guest today is all about changing that. She helps business owners find their voice and learning how to become the expert people can't help but notice. And we like that. And I've looked at your site. Just by the way, I want to plug this in because I looked at her site, man. I just love all the stuff happening on there. It's like popping out, like standing out, which is so important, right? And I think we're going to be talking a little bit about that, I'm sure, today. So before I bring her on, I do need to do a quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Productions. Need to add excitement to your YouTube videos or some expert hands for editing? Look no further. Walt Mills is the solution you've been searching for. Walt is not only your go-to guy for spicing up content, he's the force behind a thriving film production company with numerous titles in the pipeline. Always on the lookout for raw talent, Walt is eager to collaborate on film and internet productions. With a background deeply rooted in entertainment and promotion, Walt Mills leverages years of skills to give you the spotlight you deserve. Want to learn more about Walt and his work? Head on over to waltmillsproductions.net and let your content shine. All right. And with that, as I always say, you want to be sure to head on over to startergirlz.com. And why do you want to do that? One, because if you have missed an episode, it's a great place to catch up. All of them are out there. You can go back and catch up even on those early days when we were starting things out. You can also sign up for our community news, stay in the know so that you never miss an upcoming episode and you can keep up with what we've got going on. And then, of course, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, creator, maybe you're in the thick of it. I don't know where you are, but you want to find out what your number one success block is that may be impacting you right now. Well, you're in luck. I created a 2-minute quiz over there that you can take. It's fun, informative, and it might just shed some light on what might be keeping you stuck. So that when my guest is telling you today why you need to be bold and step out, and you're not, this might be why. All right, so head on over to startergirlz.com. And as I always say, do your thing. All right, it is time to bring the guest on. And I am so excited about this. I think this is just going to be a powerful conversation today. So Christine Blosdale is the expert authority coach with over 25 years of experience in personal branding, magnetic marketing, and multimedia. She's helped entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and thought leaders step into their brilliance and become the go-to authority in their field. She's a 5-time #1 best-selling author, award-winning podcaster, and former content creator for powerhouses like America Online and Microsoft. Today, I'm sure she's going to bring us a lot of fun and spunk and energy and excitement. And so, Christine, welcome to the Starter Girl Show. I am so excited to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And I have to say that the intro, you would have, if you were one of my students or my clients, I'd give you an A++ because you have the energy. You came right through. You mentioned the website. You were like, on top of it. So you get an A++ for that.
Thank you. You know what? I feel like after a while, you kind of figure things out a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I laugh about this whole podcasting thing because, I tell people to go back to look at those early days when we were starting out because we all start somewhere, right? Yeah. And I just remember we were doing everything live in the beginning and I had a co-host at the time. We had no idea what we were doing. And we just were we're just going to have fun, and then as you go along the way, you start kind of figuring out this works, this doesn't, I like this, don't like this. And, and I've learned now that I will tell you, I always say the objective is, yes, we want to have an informative podcast and we want to inspire, but I really, you know what I really like is like making sure my guest has a good time when they come on the show, right? Because as
Yes.
smart business owners, we know when you guys have a good time, what are you going to do? You're going to leave and be like, hey man, that was a cool podcast and I had a great time on there. So I think, you know, all the things are fun. And I think it's a process you have to go through. And no matter what you do is learning the ropes.
The main thing is that you've taken action, and you didn't dream about. You didn't go, oh, one day we'll do a podcast, but we got to wait until we're perfect and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, no.
You actually did it. So congratulations, and you got a cool podcast too.
Thank you. You know what? I don't know if you're like this, but I have never been one to sit and think about things. I'm just like, we're gonna do it. Let's just go. Let's go. I'm excited. We birthed this podcast, no kidding, in a parking lot. When we started this in the very beginning, my friend and I, we were both ex-Mary Kay sales directors. We were sitting in a parking lot after a networking meeting. This was right before COVID. I was frustrated. I'm like, hey, you know what? We should do a podcast. Neither one of us had a clue what we were doing. And we walked into a room with those little styrofoam things on the wall in like a co-op space. And we're like, let's go. We're going to push some buttons. So I don't know about you. I have to sometimes tell myself, Jennifer, you need to pause and think about that before you jump. But I'm like, no toe dipping. We're just going all in.
No, you need to. Sometimes you do. You need to. And then like you said, as you continue to do that, and you learn what to do, what not to do. You know, okay, that last time we did that wasn't very good. Let's try a little something different.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that attitude though is really great, because it can take you really far in life in all kinds of ways.
Yep. Thank you. I know. It's a good thing. Okay. Well, let's talk about you. Enough of me. We're done with that. Everybody on here, they get to hear me all the time. We're going to talk about you now. So I want to talk a little bit about, because I think I love your work. Like, I haven't even looked at everything, but I went on your website and I'm like, the colors and just I can just tell you're that person that's just there. Your out there presence is there. And that's what is, so I think stops a lot of people, right? Like we're talking about right here, that just that presence we miss, right? So I want to talk about you. What got you into this? Like, what brought you to this place that you're at today? And then we're going to talk about what you're doing.
Yeah. So, I think I've always wanted to be a teacher. When I was really young, I always wanted, because I had amazing teachers growing up. And so I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, but then when I got out of college, I got my degree and everything. And then I saw how much they were paying public school teachers and where they send you. And I was like, no way. So life just sort of took me, I was, struggling, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I had ended up, back in the day, I got a really great opportunity to work for America Online. And this is back, a time there was no TikTok, there was no Facebook.
I remember.
The only thing there was America Online.
You've got mail.
You've got mail. And that horrible screeching sound when you would pull up. But it was exciting, right? It was really cool. And I got a golden opportunity to write a column. It was an entertainment column. It ended up becoming one of the most popular places on AOL, of course, because it's entertainment. But it was done, I wrote through a cartoon character, actually. I didn't write through Christine. I created this character because it was easier, I figured, because I was doing really brutally honest movie reviews and celebrity interviews, directors and celebrities and actors and stuff like that. So I was really lucky because I got to go to a lot of premieres and screenings and press junkets. And I wrote, I had to style my writing to appeal to a very wide audience. Gotcha. I asked my editor, I said, well, who's my target audience? And they said, you need to write for someone who's 8 years old up to 80. And I was like,
yeah.
So I did that and I achieved that. And I think it was back this is way before the Shrek movies, but if you've ever seen a Shrek movie, you understand that kids get it and they enjoy it, but also adults get it.
Adults get it. Yes. Yes.
So I sort of wrote in a Shrekified way, and it was really successful and we had a great time. Then 9/11 happened and I was like, God, I felt it was just weird because I felt like there was so much going on in the world that I didn't understand. And I felt like this Hollywood thing was so shallow.
Yeah.
So I was really searching. And when you search, Jennifer, when you're searching for those answers or direction, a lot of times they come right into your face.
Right.
And I was driving in traffic, as you do in Los Angeles, channel surfing, came across a radio station that was really unique and different. And I was like, wow, it's not all about like fear mongering. And it was not a corporate radio station. It was community sponsored. So it was like people's thoughts and their own, analysis of things. And so I drove there. I drove to the station, actually physically drove, and wanted to thank everybody. I came from a place of gratefulness because I wanted to thank everyone for the work that they were doing under very, we were scared. People were terrified what was happening.
Right.
And so I went in and they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I write through a cartoon character for AOL. And they said, you should think about volunteering. And I was like, I can do that? I can volunteer at a radio station? They said, yeah. And so I started volunteering, and one thing led to another, and a position opened up, and, all these different things happened. The universe aligned, and I became a producer, writer, producer. And then I moved into the seat of host and got to do some amazing work. And I was there for 20 years.
Wow.
Working at the station, interviewing people, doing much like what we do now.
Yes.
But what I learned, because I had to also do some sales, it was fund drive thing, right?
Yeah.
But what I learned is the pillar of 3. There's needs that everybody has. And if you can tap in to one of these 3 things or all 3 of them, then when it comes from a business standpoint, you're on that flow. You're actually delivering something that people need and want. And that is health, wealth, and love. Those are the 3
things,
main things.
Yeah.
So if you are writing a book, if you want to write a book, if you're able to tap into one of those 3 things, then you're hitting it on the mark. If you want to create a podcast, same thing, right? So, so I learned what people wanted and needed, not so much what I want to give people.
Right.
When you flip the script and you actually do your business for what your audience, your target audience, what they actually need and want, instead of what you want to give them, it changes the dynamics. And so I started coaching back then when I was in radio, started working with people who were authors and speakers, and just was able to tap into their potential and to say, oh my goodness, it's cool you're doing this, but you could be doing this.
Right.
And success after little success after little success. And then it just took off to be a full-time gig where I was coaching people on their brand and their messaging, but also their services, honing in on those things. And it's really important. What I was just saying is we need to realize what our target audience, clientele, what they really need, as opposed to what we want to give them. It's as if, I equate it to this. If someone's hungry, they don't need a gizmo, a product.
Right.
They don't need the stapler.
Yeah.
But as entrepreneurs, we're like, but take the stapler. I'm really good at giving you the stapler.
Yes.
And they're like, I just want a sandwich. I'm hungry. Right. So when we realize that and we start tapping into that, then our businesses can change and they can really go places. But we have to change our mindset on that.
It's so good that you were saying this so we started 2 other colleagues out here, myself, we started a networking group, part of a bigger type organization, but we started our own little group. And we were doing training last week on asking good questions, right? And active listening. And part of the asking the good question was what you're talking about, determining what the pain points are of our person sitting across from us so that we can find out if what we even have is something that they need. Because so often, like you just said, as business owners, whatever it is we have, we want to push that off on the person. Like we want to, and they may not want what we have, or what we may think everybody needs what we have, but they're not wanting what we have, right? And so there is that whole idea of there's a lot to this, right? Because there's the psychological understanding that, and I think when you get to that place where you kind of learn the art of what you're talking about so that you can market appropriately, right? But it also
Yeah.
goes as far as you sitting down across from somebody and having those dialogues to find out if even what you're doing is what they even need, or you just like vomiting on them your stuff, and,
Yeah.
and they're not even receptive to it because they don't want it. They don't want the stapler. They want the sandwich.
I just got off of a call with a client who is a perfect example. She said basically in less than half an hour, she goes, "You completely changed my business," because she was doing, and she's a really gifted tarot reader,
Yeah.
intuitive,
Okay.
and it was all about it was all about sort of this, not nebulous, but like, enlightenment and spirituality. And I'm like, people with spirituality, it triggers them. Some people have a bad experience with religion and spirituality.
Right.
And I said, now you are really gifted at what you do. And I said, there are millions and millions of, and her thing was really helping women claim their power, right? I said, there's millions of women that are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, mumpreneurs that would love some guidance on their business. If you could do business tarot readings, so that when they are creating their business and they want to know, hey, is this a good brand name? Is should I invest in this? Sink some capital into this or that or the other? Should I do this advertising? If they can get answers from you on that, I said, there's your business model. Because people are not necessarily seeking that spiritual enlightenment.
Right.
You'll get there. You'll do it in the you'll end up doing that.
Yes.
But what they really need is they need that help with their business.
Right.
And she was like, oh, shoot, I can do that. I said, yes, you can. So now we're flipping her messaging, right? For the longest time, several years ago, during the whole COVID thing, my bread and butter, where I was making a really good living, was teaching people how to create a podcast, right? Everything from the legal stuff that you need to know, the cover art, the theme music, blah, 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 how to record, how to edit, how to publish, how to market. And it was good. I was busy. I had lots of clients. Then there was a time where that started to slow down, and I was like, uh-oh. So I kept trying to, say to people, I kept trying to push that, sign up for my podcast coaching program, my podcast coaching program. Well, the people that wanted to create a podcast in a small field, right? A small degree of people wanted to do that. Because it's a responsibility, and it takes a little bit of work.
Yep.
But then I realized I'm pushing something that I want to push, but that not the majority of people need. The majority of people do not need a podcast. What they need is help on their branding and their messaging and their website and their social media. And we can bring in the element of podcasting, maybe not as a host, but as a guest.
Right.
So then that's when I came up with, the expert authority coach, and helping people across the board come across as the expert authority. And instead of pushing this thing that I wanted, exactly.
Yeah. You know what's interesting that you're saying this, because so this is not, I want to back up when you were talking about the tarot thing. So I've had to do this with my own work, but also I've had this conversation with my clients, because most of my clients that come to me, we may cover some of that brand. That's not my big thing, but that may come up in the work. Go back to the spiritual thing that you were talking about, because that was something I wrestled with. Because in the beginning, when I started my coaching, it was all about, I want to give people this whole, I want them to live their best life, right? Okay, most of them even know what that is. So they're not going to come to you and go, hey, Jennifer, I want you to teach me how to live my best life. No, they're coming to me because they want to build their business, or they're wanting to lose. Let me tell you this, I'm certified life coach. I'm also a certified keto carnivore coach. I'm also a nervous system trainer. I have all these certifications, which is kind of like when we go back to your podcasting thing, I have all these certifications. So what I had to do was I'm like, okay, it's the same thing. They're coming to me for these for like to do these different pieces. And we have those spiritual enlightening moments in the middle where I actually work on the growth, all that development that comes in. I don't advertise that part, but what I did do was I created basically a 4-step system to create transformation, to reduce burnout, and to create less overwhelm and stuff, because I had to figure out a way to tie those together, but get off of this whole, we're trying to have this transformation. I couldn't sell. That was hard for me to sell transformation, because that's people who want transformation are probably going through something really deep and they're looking for that transformation. But a lot of people are not there. They're looking to
you
build
can't
their
hold on
business.
to it.
Yeah,
You can't,
it's not.
it's this, what does transformation mean?
Exactly. Right.
But if you
But
can be specific and you can say, I will help you become concrete in your business plan,
yes,
or in your relationship, whatever you want to do, then that's something that they can hold on to. And you're right. You teach those other things. I'm highly intuitive, but I don't market myself as a psychic.
Right.
I don't market myself as a psychic business coach.
You just use it as it's a skill set within your work. That's
exactly.
Yes. And that's what I do too. I don't market all those little pieces, but as I'm talking to people, they come up in the conversation because they weave into. So if somebody says, how do I do a podcast? I could probably teach them how to do a podcast too. That might come up in the conversation. Am I certified in it? No, but it might come up, And so you're right. I think that the figuring out that what that is that you're doing and tapping it. You said that early on, the health, the wealth, and what was the other one? The
health,
money,
wealth, and love.
Yes. Okay. But yes, those 3. I think, and it's funny because when you think about the 4 domains in life, we talk about in coaching, you got health and wealth and I think that is actually the most important one because it changes all the peripheral, right? But then, yes, you've got the relationships, which is the love piece in there, and they all fit within these little pieces. So yes, I'm with you. I think it's important to get that marketing right and know who the audience is, and know what they need, like know what you're offering, because if you're offering the wrong thing, you're not grabbing them.
You're not grabbing them. And like I said, you're they want a sandwich. They're hungry.
I'm not going to forget the sandwich and the stapler.
It's going to be
great. It's going to be the sandwich or the stapler.
And I see this all the time.
Yeah.
I see this all the time. And there's especially women in business. There's some women in business that they sink so much energy and time and money, doing publishing their like a book and paying a publisher thousands of dollars to or booking agency to get booked on podcasts. They pay thousands and thousands, $10,000.
Yes,
but they don't have their message down. They don't.
Right.
You got to have a strategy when it comes to writing that book or being a guest on a podcast. You can't just say, I'm just going to throw stuff on the wall and hope that it sticks.
Right.
You have to be really specific, and your messaging needs to be really specific.
Yeah.
Even if you do a lot of things, even if you're somebody that does a lot of things, you still have to be specific.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm going to say this because you contacted me directly to be on the podcast. And I will say, as a podcast host, I would much rather you contact me than an agent. The agents drive me absolutely crazy. They drive me nuts. Like they will email me, Christine, and every single email, and they will do it within less than 24 hours. They're at it again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm getting now where I'm like, and now they're using Chat GPT to do all their stuff. So they're even sending me, they're all sending me the same emails. They all look the same. No creativity in them at all. So you know what? You're also a podcaster. You've been a podcaster. Yeah. When you send an email like you did to me, I'm going to be more inclined to read it when the person puts themselves out there and does that, but has that clear messaging, right? Like,
right. And I'm not blowing smoke up, because one of the unfortunate things that happens with those automated emails
terrible.
is it'll say, oh, that interview you had with so-and-so was so phenomenal. And this is why I'm writing you today, because if you think that guest that you had on
wait till you get this one.
And we know you haven't listened to that show. So just Quit with the
Seriously,
lying.
Christine, like, because they're copying the show notes. The chat GPT copies the show
Exactly.
notes. And then with the minute I see the word delve in that email, the
Delve.
minute that word delve gets in there, I know it's over. It's over. I'm done. Here's the thing, Christine, and we're going to get off of this, but when you're in the process, when you emailed me, you're in the process. You know what's happening. You took the booking, we exchanged.
Yeah.
There is now a commitment relationship because we have engaged in conversation. That agent gets in the middle. I have no conversation with that person. They have no buy-in, so they can choose not to show up. They can, which they do. They won't show up, or they'll reschedule at the last minute or whatever, because there's no real buy-in. And so
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm like those agents. I could just be like, they could be okay. Don't contact me. It's okay.
Well, also, they don't see. This is the problem as well with those automated things and those in the agencies.
Yes.
Is they don't know how to communicate that it's not about the person that they're pitching. So if the communication that I had with you, like with the pitch to be on your show, if you noticed, it wasn't so much about you've got to have Christine Blosdale on because she's done this, that, and the other, and she's amazing. Which is like a lot of people would say, "Oh, I want to be on your show. Put me on your show." And you're like, "Well, why?" Okay,
yeah.
But what you have to do is you have to say your audience is going to benefit. Your audience is going to love this conversation. Your audience is going to gain, because as the show host, I know that it's not your ego. You want to put on a good show for your audience, for the people that are listening.
Right.
That's the thing. So the message gets lost when you have those.
I agree with you. Yes.
Automated
and this is I don't even know how we were going to get into this, but as fellow podcasters, we get it, right? Because we've both done this. You are exactly right. Because, okay, so we're talking about this whole marketing thing, which is important. So how do these people finding you? Is it just because now you've just got this word of mouth out there? You're Christine and you've been doing such amazing. They're finding you.
They're finding me through different things. So a lot of it is word of mouth. And then I also make sure that I show up on different platforms, of course.
Gotcha.
But I'm someone who loves to do collaborative. We call them venture partnerships, right?
Yeah.
So collaborative work. That means being on panels. That means being in networking situations. But also, I like to promote other people who are gifted in their own space.
Sure.
And I like to elevate them and promote them. So I've just started doing something just recently, and I love it. And it's creating bundles or stacks, really powerful programs, courses, education and information from other experts, other expert authority folks. Some people are experts in LinkedIn, like how to create a standout LinkedIn profile. Another one might be an expert in storytelling. Another one might be an expert in social media in general or video. I like how to create viral videos. So I'll take all these people and we'll offer a free gifts from all of these different collaborators that I showcase. So the audience wins. They get a free course, program, book, right? All these different things. The collaborator wins because they get promoted on all of our email lists. They get out there and they meet new people, warm leads, which is so different than a cold lead.
Right.
And I win as well because I'm connecting with I'm meeting these amazing people that we can go off and we can do other things together. And I get my email database also expanded. So with warm leads. So it's a win-win-win. No money is exchanged. The people get the gifts for free. The collaborators participate for free, but we all benefit. And that is the business model that is going to be successful in the next 5 to 10 years. And it's starting now because we see that greed is falling. You could see it. You see it in politics, you see it in celebrity, Hollywood, you see it on the big stage, the political platform, that this idea of greed and taking all and screwing the little guy is over. It's over. Yeah. And so that's why we need to, and especially as women in business, I mean, I don't just work with women coaches, female coaches. I have on the collaboration, on the bundles, we have all different types of collaborators, but together we are a much stronger force, and we offer a lot more to the audience when we are together. It's like the Marvel superheroes.
Yeah.
Superman by himself is cool, or Batman by himself is cool.
Right.
But when you combine them and you throw in Wonder Woman in there, and then you can save the world.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah, right. Yeah, no, I get it. We got to get it. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. It's funny because I had this guy on that I released this week, and he used to be, I think he's from Canada. I think that's where he's at. And I say that just because I was some of the, the language, some of the words, the spelling's a little bit different on some of the things. And he has a book called Political Offense, and it's with a C, Political Offense. He was a financial expert, and he does like a column now where he actually talks about a lot of the money and stuff. And his big thing is talking about the extra printing of money and all of this stuff. And so we had some really good conversation around a lot of that. But the whole idea was this coming together of how he was talking about kind of the greed and how it's affecting this younger generation, and what we're doing to them is just basically morally wrong, And so on a completely different topic, but sort of the same resonating message, right, of this collaborative effort to work together instead of opposing, for the good of others. And so I feel like it's a universal theme in different areas, but I'm with you. I think the collaboration is huge especially in business, when you're trying to do things and, in a space where people,
it has a different energy. It has a completely different energy. And also you're not subscribing to the scarcity mindset. You're not saying,
right,
oh, I'm afraid to introduce my database or my people to this person because they're going to run away with them. Well, then you're not secure in who you are.
No.
That's the thing. But again, when you combine those talents,
right,
you give people a lot, an amazing experience, and you open them up to other opportunities. If you are a coach and you claim to want to benefit your clients, then you will do everything possible to make sure that you give them the right tools. And if you don't have the tools yourself to give them, but you know of somebody who does, and you keep that from them, then what kind of, come on, right? And again, it's a sticky thing. A lot of people, a lot of coaches I've seen suffer from that. And
I think that's how it is in the world, right? Because we get it, and that's the thing. I mean, I do a lot of coaching and stuff. So I'm kind of funny because I go through waves where I do a lot of that, and then I back off. But here's what I will tell you. I bring everybody on this show, and I will tell you, probably most people, unless they're doing even financial planning, I don't do that, but I talk about money. Okay, everybody that comes on this show probably does a little area of something that I can do, that I have had to do in my business. I've had to learn to do it. I've had to learn to build a podcast. I've had to learn to do SEO and YouTube. I now have a guy do that for me. I've had to learn to do branding. I worked with a mentor. I had to learn to do that part. I've had to learn to do finances. I've had to learn to be my own financial expert, right? Pull myself out of debt. My point to this, everybody that's come on here has probably been a little piece of something that I've had to do or work through. But it was like I was telling the guy just before this. I said, my job, when I do this show, is my job is to teach people to educate themselves. Like, I want people to find knowledge, and however they choose to absorb that knowledge, my job, I'm bringing it to them. I'm putting it out there because you guys are all saying the same things I'm saying. But they ain't going to listen to me every single time, right? But somebody else, Christine, you might come on and say, today we talked about that podcasting thing. Guess what? Some agent might listen to that today, and they're going to go home, and guess what? They're going to get rid of them stupid bots, and they're going to start writing personal emails to me and actually listen to the podcast, and they're going to tell you, and they're going to tell me why they think their guest is a good fit, because they're going to add value, and it's not, they're going to learn something. And see, and it may be because you said that one thing about those things today.
You could have said it like 10,000 times. And then
exactly. And you said it today, Christine, and they got it. And next week, all of a sudden, I'm going to get new emails. It's going to be great.
It's like with kids, you tell them like over and over again for years, this, that, the other. And then some stranger or somebody on TV says it. And they're like, I'm going to start investigating that and looking into that. And you're like,
you're like, hello, I've been telling you this for a long time. But you know what? The guy that was on before this, the one I maybe mentioned a few minutes ago, he was all the things. He was a scuba instructor, the pilot, all this. Mm-hmm. He was talking about how, when we learn, it's got to be like, we have to find it, right? And I learned this through my mentor, that one of my mentors I worked through, it has to be our idea. Like, we have to think we came up with it, because once we do that, then we own it. Right. Like, now and somebody tells us what to do. It's somebody telling us what to do. But when we hear it and it's now our idea. So now it's like, hey, I was listening to that Jennifer Loehding's podcast. There was this girl, Christine, that came on there, and she was talking about how those agents use those emails. And I heard that. And you know what? Gosh, I've never thought about that. You know how many times I wanted to write back and say, can you create an original thought? Like, can you send me an email? It's not Chat GPT. Like, and I just don't. They're going to hear it, see, and they might learn.
They may not hear it. They're not listening.
They may not too. That too. There's a good chance a lot of them won't.
The bots are listening.
There's a good chance a lot of them won't. But you know what? That's the point of this, is that my job, I feel like, when I do this, is I don't feel that there's any need for anybody I bring on here for it to be a competition. It's more that I feel like I'm bringing y'all on here to offer a different perspective or shed some light on the things I'm talking about, and to add value. And that makes us all better at the end of the day. Right. Makes my world, listen, if one more person gets healthy. One more person gets healthy, your world's better. My world's better.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it.
And for me, the more women in business that are independently, financially secure, the better.
I agree. Because we need more confident women running around, right? Exactly.
Yes, we need to take over now. We need to step up as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good. I think it's good because women do wrestle with a lot of things. I mean, finances, all of that. You're probably wrestling with, getting some of that when you're working with these women. It's that head stuff that comes up, why they're afraid to do this, or they feel uncomfortable with this. And even I get that. It's like, you're giving an idea and they're like, oh, I'm not comfortable with that. And it's like, okay, but do you want to stay in that same position? Or do you want to grow?
Yeah. So much. What I get is, and I try my best to work with these clients when there is this desperation.
Yeah.
When there is this thing of, look, I need money right now.
Right.
Well, and I say, starting your business and creating your brand, we can work towards getting you, clients. But if you don't have a business platform set up, in other words, if you don't have anything set up for people to pay you or to make it easy for people to pay you, then we need to create that. So that's going to take a little bit of time, not a long time, but it's this desperation. And Jennifer, as well as I do, that when you have the desperation stink, it comes across on your videos, on your blogs, on your social media. It's like sell, sell, sell. And nobody wants to jump aboard the Titanic. You will repel people.
It's like, ew.
Yes. Yeah. And you don't have to you don't have to fake it and, and have sacks of money behind you, and pretend like you're in a vault. But realize that the smell and because we can smell it, we can taste it, of desperation will repel people because they don't trust you, right?
Yeah.
So it's playing that game. It's playing a little bit of make believe in the beginning, and just being secure with the fact that you are on the right path. When you're secure in the fact that, hey, you know what? I'm on the right path. I'm building my business. I know what people want and need, and I'm going to deliver that to them, and I'm going to communicate that message as best I can, and I'm going to have faith that this is going to work out. I also don't have that scarcity mindset, so I'm going to open my world to other people that can join me on this journey. And when you do that, you'd be amazed at the it just, things open up. But when we have that scarcity mindset, I have a client that is, it's so hard for her to get out of that mindset.
Right.
And I understand it, but I understand the power of that, how it derails us from our dreams, from starting businesses, because we are submerged in that ick. And
it'll contaminate everything you do. It really,
absolutely.
And I know I get it too. I get it sometimes, and it's so hard to work with people when they're in that space, because you just know it's like everything that comes out, it's just why this won't work or why this is a problem, and it's like, oh, you and I used to, honestly, Christine, I used to kind of be one of those people. Like I really had to work on it. And I, and it wasn't an overnight thing. I mean, I feel like, I was in Mary Kay for 22 years, but I really, like in 2012, when I got diagnosed with this nerve condition thing, that was sort of the catalyst for all this, that started forcing me to have to evaluate why I was having all this stuff happen. The questions I started asking, like you were talking early on about asking the questions.
Yeah.
I had to go through this whole like searching, like this soul searching. And that started leading into, okay, it wasn't just about like food or diet, or it was now becoming about mindset, how I was seeing the world, how I was seeing people, how I was seeing myself, and all of that toxicity that was balling up into that. And it's so crazy. So let's go back to podcasting. Just to tell you, like I'm talking about the show that went out with this guy that did the Capital Offense book. Well, we're kind of talking, a lot of stuff we were talking about was like how the system is kind of not working for us. Was a lot of inner talk about things that weren't maybe quite as positive. But I go to do the title for the show, and my YouTube guy gets a hold of the title. And of course, we know that what sells in YouTube, fear-based stuff, is what's going to grab people to click. Well, I'm not a clickbait person, Christine. I have to stay true to brand. And Starter Girlz is about empowerment, knowledge, growth, teaching you to research, to find out information. But I am not going to force negative talk on you, because I just don't do that. I'm real, but I always tell people like I'm a practical optimist. Okay. So he goes to do my YouTube, and I'm laughing because he sends me back all this like fear-based title. And I'm like, no, we can't do this. This is not starter girl language. This is not how it's like why this is bad, and how you're losing money and not knowing, and all this. And I'm like, no. We got to flip the script. It needs to be more about why you need to know this, because it's education.
That's funny.
I had to be true to brand, like I got to be congruent.
Yeah.
And the point I'm trying to make about this though, Christine, is there may have been a time, years ago where that would have been my languaging. That would have been how I talk, but I can't talk. I don't talk like that. I don't think like that. And yeah, I'm not going to say my head's in the clouds, because I am well aware of what goes on around me. I don't choose to dwell in the mess and the thick of that. I'm going to try to find the good in things. And so everything that I'm going to speak is going to come out in a way of abundance mindset. That's how I like to roll, because you got two choices the way I see it. Sit this way or sit this way. You choose, where you want to be.
It's flipping the script on the terminology, and you're right.
Exactly.
And empowering versus, every like workshop and masterclass that I teach, they're all pretty much like how-tos, right? How to create a podcast, how to use ChatGPT or AI in your videos, how to use AI for social media and things like that. So they're all sort of positive things. The only time that I think I've done a couple things where the title it sounds negative, but then when you actually go into the content, you're like, oh, this is really great. Yeah. And I think one of the last ones that I did was this is why your website sucks.
But that was kind of funny though, because it's like, it's kind of, it's not, it's almost sounds like it's serious, but not serious. Do you know what I mean? Because sucks is kind of sucks is like, if it was like, this is why your website's bad. Like that just has a very different, you know what I mean? Yeah. It is very much a ebb and flow with that stuff, right? But my point to that whole thing was that for me, it had to be congruent with the way that I would talk to you, because I would probably not, unless I was in a freaking bad mood, would probably not be talking like that. So it felt very like just, we got it all worked out. He's great. He does great work for me, but we had to go through that. I'm like, okay, these are not going to work. None of them, because they're all feeling very fear-based and scarcity mindset. And Jennifer just doesn't really talk in that kind of language. Like we are supposed to be talking about abundance mindset here, why knowledge is power, why you need to know this stuff. It's so that you can better yourself and you can make better decisions. That's why we're doing this. It's not because we're trying to fear you into why you need to listen to this because you're getting screwed. That was not what I was trying to convey here. And so, yeah, I think messaging goes back to what you're saying, messaging and your branding and I'm in there, like, I'm actually using Chat GPT and I'm like, is there anything I can do with any of these titles and this is Chat GPT. I can see why you don't like these because they're feeding in fear and negative.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, no kidding. Yes. We don't want any of that,
Well, because it's ChatGPT now, it also knows you and and your energy, your vibe, as far as what the messaging is.
Yep.
And you're right. And it's important to stay true to that.
Yeah.
Because then when people click on that show, they're going to get more of what you want to put out there. And they're not going to go, wait, this is different than the title. The title was scary. And then Jennifer's like all like positive.
Yeah,
like
that exactly. I told my husband, I said, can you imagine if somebody they click on the thing and says, why you're losing money? And they're thinking that's what they're going to do. And then they go to a Jennifer and like, man, she's an airhead. Like, how did I get roped into this one? Like, I'm really not an airhead, but I'm a high energy person and I'm excited and I'm passionate, but I'm not dumb. But they're listening to that where we talk about that and they see that title and then they go to what I normally talk about, which is about a lot of different things, but it's about journeys and, and stuff like that. Then they're gonna be like, those don't even match, And so, yeah, it was a funny little moment we had to go through there, but I was like, yeah, I can't like that whole just wrestle with, the branding and being consistent and that authenticity, and what you're saying, what are your people looking for? That congruency, right? Like you don't want to, it's okay to surprise them a little bit, but you don't want to go over here to here. And this is what they see. And then all of a sudden you're over here and this is totally not in alignment with what you've been giving them and what they expect from you,
And that needs to come across in all of your content, in your messaging and things like that. People know before they even book that strategy, the discovery call with me, they know my style and how I work.
Yeah.
And I'll say that I work intuitively, although I don't market myself as a psychic or anything like that. But they already know that my style is informal, it's fun, and I keep things very simple, easy, and fun. So that's even how if I'm teaching them, if I'm showing them how to do something, or we're going through their branding, it's all done in a simple, easy, and fun way. And so they know immediately what they're getting. Right?
Yeah.
They're not going to be shocked when they have a session with me or a discovery call and go, oh, I thought you were more corporate or whatever. No.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, no, and your branding's good because I think it conveys
comes across good. It works.
Yeah, it conveys your personality and you can, and I think you're right. You can look at that and you can kind of get an idea. And just to show the power of that, I mean, we do when we're looking for things, we look at things like that. Like all of us are looking for certain types of people that we want to work with, whether it be corporate or fun. It's funny because when we do our networking event, I always say like, I'm the fun person. So this is what it is. We're community, growth, and fun. That's our message. Community, growth, and fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to grow. We're going to learn. And we're community focused, but we got to have fun in the process because if we ain't having fun, I'm bored.
Exactly.
I'm bored. Like I can't even, it's hard for me to even go to events if people are just, they're like, I had to train the other day and I got up there and I said, first thing I said to him, I said, well, those of you who don't know, we're going to have fun. Those of you that know me, we like to have fun because we are. The guy told one of the guys in there at the end said, y'all have a lot of energy. I'm like, yep, we have a lot of energy. So
because
Christine, you are awesome.
That'll hold your audience too. They understand that's part of you.
Yeah.
And if they want like a stodgy, boring experience, they could go somewhere else.
Exactly.
We're at that point where like this is what you get. I'm not changing for anybody. I'm not that point in my life. This is what you get, and if you love it, and then that's awesome. And if not, then
it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
I think, and you know what? I think there's a great comfortableness in that. You know what I mean? I think it's all going back to what we were talking about, owning your power and being okay with who you are and knowing, what you And I guess recognizing too, Christine, we're not going to appeal to every single person. That's okay. It's like our product, right? It's
Yeah,
like what we're
exactly.
offering. We're not for everybody, you know, and like you said, you're simple, easy, and fun. You know, I always tell people I'm fun, but I'm not a Band-Aid person. So that's really the language that I use. Like when I work with people, I'm like, if you're looking for a quick fix, you might be disappointed with me because I want you to win. And in order for me to win with the kind of work I'm doing, it could be deep, you know, and
Right.
you got to be committed to that process, right? Because that's how you're really going to make a difference in what you're trying to do. So I tell people I'm deep, but I'm fun. You know, it's not hard what I teach. It's not hard, but we're not going to do surface level either, you know, and we're going to have fun in the process, you know, and not everybody sticks around for that. And that's okay. You know,
And that's okay.
So,
Exactly.
Exactly. You're awesome. I love what you're doing. So really quick,
Thank you, Dawn.
before we got on here, you told me you're like calling in all the way from around the world. So what time is it in Australia right now?
Well, we jumped on a call at 7 a.m.
Oh, so you're
But
early
I start
morning.
at 6.
Okay.
I start at 6, so that's okay.
Okay, because it's like we're in PM here. I'm down all the way down in Texas, so in the suburbs of Dallas on the north on the outside. So way down there.
Way down there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And are you loving it? How long have you been in Australia now?
Full time for 5 years. I just became a citizen as well.
You liking it there so far? Like
yeah,
loving it?
Oh yeah, it's lovely. And you know, I mean the entire country of Australia is the population of Southern California, maybe. You know, I come from a very from Los Angeles, born and raised. And so big city type thing. And and I'm very glad I'm here. Yeah, everybody's been so lovely. It's a cool place to be. You should come. You should come visit.
I know, I'd like to go there sometime. I told you my daughter got to go, and it was so funny. She went with the school program when she was in elementary school, and it was so funny because she's now a bilingual school teacher. Just so you know, she's an adult now, and she is in the education system, bilingual teaching. Nobody in our family speaks Spanish. She went to school to learn Spanish and as a young child taught herself how to speak it, went and got certified to do it all. But she went to Australia with a school program when she was a kid. And I want to say she was going like in 6th grade. And they went to a school there, and then they went to the Aborigines, went to the Coral Reef, all these things. I remember her coming back and looking at all her pictures, and I was cracking up because all her pictures were like, she had a kangaroo outside the hotel. She took a picture. She went to the stadium, took a picture of the seats because she was impressed with the seats were all biodegradable material. Like it was just funny things that at that age, like I was like, can you bring me like pictures of like the water? And like, you know, but she had all these little things that at the time were like, you know, important to her and see. And so it was such a neat little, like, I guess, experience for her, you know, to be able to do that. So
that's a really amazing experience for somebody that's that young too.
Yeah.
Like, and what they see. It was hard for you because she was 7,000 miles away.
Yes. And she was young. And back then we didn't have this cell phone. We had cell phones, but they weren't quite, the plans weren't. So I had to like get this cell phone that she could get to take with her. And of course, I remember it would be like, she would call me and it would always be like at 3:00 in the afternoon. It was weird time that maybe it was like, I don't know. It was weird time she would call me because I'd be maneuvering 2 other kids around. Like they were younger than her, moving them around. And she'd be like, we're going to do this today, Mom. You know, like she was having fun. But I was just the whole time I was like, and now I told you they're like all travelers now. So now I'm like, you will laugh, Christine, when they travel. I put them all on location when they're traveling. And I will be like screenshotting the hotels where they're staying just so I know a location where they're at. 5,000 miles across the world, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. You want to, especially when they're that far away from you, you want to make sure you know where they are. So.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I think it's great you get to have that experience, and you're doing great things. And so do you get to go back and forth? I mean, do you come back and forth in the States a lot, or just kind of, I'm assuming family's still here?
No, I'm pretty much here. I go back once in a while. My wife and I, we went for my birthday. We went to Maui, which was a lovely. That's our favorite place. Yeah, I think on the planet is Maui. It's something when we get there, we feel at home. We feel very much at home. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's I'm really blessed. I'm really lucky to be here. and I get to work with clients all around the world. A lot of my clients are American, and Canadian and Australian. So the big three: Aussies, Canadians, and Australians.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it's good. I think it's great that you get to do that. And with the way we are now, and I think it's so great that we get to do that. You get to, pretty much work from wherever you want. We've sort of changed the way the land. I mean, some people still have to go in, but I think we've sort of changed the landscape a little bit where we have that freedom to. I had a girl on my show a while back that was originally from Germany. She was living in LA, I believe, and ended up selling her business, everything, and then decided to go back to Germany for a while. I think she came back, but she basically went all minimalist, moved in the mountains, kind of soloed it out for a while by herself. And then I think she she might be back in California now, but neat lady. She was a bodybuilder. And she has a really neat story, but it was kind of like she just decided to, she had twins and they kind of, were doing their thing. And she's like, I'm just going to sell it all, pack up, go minimalist for a while, move back to the mountains in Germany and kind of do a solo thing for a while. So
that's adventurous. That's cool. That's actually very adventuresome.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's good that people get to do that. So I think it's awesome. So good for you. Okay, so if our audience wants to get in touch with you, maybe there's somebody out there right now that's like, hey, I like this Christine girl. I need some help with my branding, whatever. They just had so much fun talking about this podcasting. They're thinking like, I'm going to call her up about that. Who knows, right? They want to get in touch with you. Where do you want us to send them?
The best place to go is expertauthoritycoach.com. If they go to that website, expertauthoritycoach.com, they can check out all the different programs that I have, all the different coaching services. Some of my books are available there, but more importantly, they can actually book a free discovery call with me, and we can sit down and discuss where they're at with their business, if they're just starting, if they want to rebrand, if they're feeling stuck. Then that's one of my favorite things to do with people is to get them unstuck.
Yeah.
So, but they can book that through that website, expertauthoritycoach.com.
Perfect. We'll make sure, Christine, when this goes in the show notes, we'll get the website in there. My editor guy usually will put something on the screen too for us visual people that actually need to see it on the picture. See it there. We'll get it out there so that they can find it. And then when we get all the, of course, the bells and whistles and all that good stuff, we'll get you tagged so people know how to reach out to you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Fun.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, we'll have to stay in touch and keep us posted on what you got going on and all that good stuff. So it's been fun.
You got it. I appreciate you. Take care, darling.
You too. Of course, to our audience, we want to say we appreciate you and thank you for tuning in. We hope you found this episode both informative and inspiring. And if you did, you know what to do. Go do all the things, like, share, comment, so we can keep sharing all of this amazing information and bring all these fun guests on to the show. And as I always say, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another, and we will see you next time.